Morning, Sally. How are you?
Hey, Harry, it's so lovely to see you again. It's been several weeks.
Yeah,
I've got Harry withdrawals.
fine. Yeah. I had a bit of a cold, but I'm recovering now.
Yeah.
Still got the deep, sexy voice.
It's very husky. It's lovely.
My goodness, the life is a bit different today than it was a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. So much has changed and happened in that short amount of time. So
You were saying a school down the road has closed temporarily.
here at primary school, one of the teachers has been infected with the coronavirus, and so it's gone into shutdown for 24 hours anyway. It's literally just up the road.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's our topic today, hey?
Yes, coronavirus. Yeah. How are you going to respond, and how is it going to affect you?
Exactly.
And I suspect much more than you had imagined.
Well, we've just been chatting for like a couple of minutes before this, and I'm kind of in shock, Harry. So you are the research king, the stats king, and yeah, frightening. It is actually frightening now. It's made me stop. I've been trying to sit with the peace, trying not to panic and not buy into the fear, just really stay calm, take care and, do appropriate things, wash your hands, all that sort of stuff. But I was just mentioning that I was at the gym and you said to me, why do you go to the gym? And I said, for community, taking care when I'm there, but and also to keep exercising because that's one of my things. And yes, I could exercise in my own gym at the back here and probably will have to do that. But, it's the friends, it's all that sort of energy that really fuels me every day. So for me not to be able to go to the gym is going to be a really big thing. But you actually opened my eyes with some frightening thoughts.
So, my message to you is prepare for the worst. Prepare mentally, prepare emotionally, so that you can then be in a good place to act in your best interest. Because you're resilient. I'm resilient. We can change. And you're not going to fall into a heap if you don't go to the public gym. But it will reduce your risk of infection. And that's important. I mean, your gym is probably better than most, but I heard about a gym the other day. They were asked, well, how often do you clean your gym? And they said, we do it once a day, but now we're going to do it twice a day. And I'm thinking, twice a day? I'm not sure I'd go to that gym.
Well, yesterday I was with my trainer and they all carry towels now, and he's particularly anal about wiping everything. So before every dumbbell sprayed it, wiped it. You should see the grime that came off the dumbbells before we lifted them up. Everything,
So,
doing.
So they carry towels, but how often do they change the towels?
Yeah, well, it would be once a day, wouldn't it? So
in case they're just infecting everything.
Well,
There
this
was a
morning
study.
did bring a towel check as you walk in so that you won't have your own towel.
There was a study that came out from the US yesterday, which showed, what did it show? That's really interesting. The virus stays active on plastic for up to 2 to 3 days. It stays active on stainless steel for up to 2 to 3 days.
Right.
Towels? Well, I leave that to your imagination. But so that's the weak point, Yes, they're spraying down the equipment, then they're wiping them clean with towels which are contaminated.
Oh no, this is paper towel and then it goes straight into the bin. But I get your point.
Straight in the bin.
Get your point. It doesn't matter, you're wiping up sweat and that sort of stuff.
So, look, there are countries that were hit by SARS really badly. Korea, Japan, Singapore, Hong Kong. All of those have a completely different trajectory to Western countries in terms of the impact of this disease. Australia, Italy, Spain, England, the US appear to be on the same trajectory, which is pretty much the same as China. So in Australia, on Monday, there were 100 On 12th of March, there were 159 cases.
Yep.
On the 15th of March, there were 299 cases.
Yep.
On the 16th of March, which is today, there were 368.
Yep. So that.
So they're currently doubling every 3 days in Australia.
So doubling every 3 days.
Yes, doubling every 3 days. So if that continues, and there's no evidence to suggest it won't, that implies 20,000 by April and 150,000 by Easter.
Wow.
And, you know, you maybe not, or you have seen what's happened in Italy and Spain and France.
So
Canada shut their
sorry, go on. Canada
shut their borders this morning.
Right. And so we're 2 or 3 weeks behind Italy?
Well, something like that. Not far. And you know, if you watch Q&A yesterday, or anybody watching this watched Q&A yesterday, the challenge for the government is to flatten the curve, so slow the increase so that the hospital system can cope.
Yep.
Otherwise, we'll be in the same situation as Italy, where doctors are reporting 1 bed, 2 people presenting, one's 40, one's 60. They let the 60-year-old die because the 40-year-old has a better chance of survival.
Wow. That's giving me goosebumps, because I read that article you sent me this morning, and it started off, whoever wrote it, saying, you know, it's business as usual and it won't happen to me. I'm young, I'm fit, all that sort of stuff. And then day 2, and then it was just, it just grew and grew to the point that people were still going out to bars and restaurants, and then all of a sudden it was shut down. And then to the point that there just weren't enough staff or beds, and people were actually dying. They had to choose who was going to die and who to treat.
Yeah, that's right.
Frightening.
So I'll just share my screen. Hopefully I can do this successfully. And I'll just share a chart from today. Can you see that?
I can see 2 charts up there.
Okay, so the one on the left is yesterday's chart, and it shows that it's doubling every 3 days. More infections in New South Wales than anywhere else. And then the chart on the right is today's chart. So there's 1 day difference. And you can see what 1 day can make a difference, particularly to what's happening in New South Wales.
Yeah. Hang on,
it's gone up from 134 to 170 or something.
Yeah, nearly 180.
I think we've got 2 cases in the ACT.
Yeah.
But once these charts go vertical for too long, with a 2% death rate, well, you can work out the numbers.
Yep.
Doesn't take long when you double and double and double.
Yep.
And the analogy I use is think of a fish pond with a water lily on it, and you've got fish and you want to see them, and you have a water lily that goes out of control. Today it's covered the pond. Yesterday the pond was half covered. On Sunday it was quarter covered. On Saturday an 1/8 of it was covered. On Friday a 1/16 of it was covered, and maybe you only noticed it last Monday.
Yeah. So a week.
And you know, a lot can happen in a week. So what I say to you and all the other people watching is prepare for the worst. Whatever the worst is for you, it might be that you're working in a clinic and the clinic may have to shut, or you're running a restaurant and the restaurant may have to shut, or you're running a school, or you're running an airline, or you're running a travel agent, or whatever it is, or a resort. Life's going to change. And it's going to change because we're on the same trajectory as what's happened in Italy or China. We don't have a totalitarian state, so people aren't going to be forced to behave in the way they would in China. So it's going to be more difficult to control here than it was in China.
It's the behaviour of people already that I find extremely frightening.
How many rolls of toilet paper do you have, Sal? Come
I've
on.
just got I didn't have any. Like I was down to and I've got 4 kids, right? And I thought I'm not buying into this panic, and I'm not buying into
Yeah.
the stock.
Yes.
And then I got down to actually I'm really low in toilet paper, and of course there was none in the supermarket. And then I just happened to be chatting to one of the checkout chicks, and I said, "This is crazy." I said, "I just need normal toilet paper for my kids." So she actually went and got me, 6-pack or something. But I just thought, it's the panic. It's the shelves in the supermarket, Harry, that I just don't want to buy into the fear. I don't want to buy into the panic. I want to stay calm. I want to stay positive. I want to stay grateful. And so that's what I'm doing. But at the same time, you have to be a realist. But,
Absolutely. You have to be a realist and prepare and minimize risk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Minimize the risk. So in that, yeah.
Maybe no more hugs, just virtual hugs. No more handshaking.
Yeah, we were doing elbow hugs.
Yeah.
Or toe tap.
Yeah.
I mean, your point is that it's growing at a rapid rate, that we really should just sort of strap ourselves in and do as much as we can.
Prepare for what's going to be ahead and inform yourself. Because, the prospect is, like in the US, they're now talking about, is it meetings of 50 or 10?
10.
No more than 50 or 10? 10. So that event you had last weekend would not have been possible.
I know, and that's what I was saying. We ran a workshop and had about 40 people, and I really felt that was the last time of any sort of group events will be, continuing on within the country. You look at what's happened in the Grand Prix, and then the sporting events and concerts, and fair enough. That is just sort of putting yourself right in the middle of it, really exposing yourself.
And there's a big difference between how they're managing this event and the AIDS event so many years ago. When the AIDS event occurred, the politicians got together with bipartisan support and appointed medical experts to run the response. Whereas now the politicians are running the response, and the effectiveness is very different. And we did brilliantly for the AIDS epidemic, but we're not doing so well this time around, unfortunately. So it gets back to the individual. So I've done a model. There's 3 Ps. Prepare for the worst, whatever the worst is for you.
Yep.
And that will allow you to prioritize what you need to do. Place yourself safely. So think about whether it's worth the risk to go to the gym.
Yep.
Or to the meeting, or to networking. For me this Thursday, is it worth me putting myself in a room with 50 other people? And practice risk reduction. So there's a lot of confusing evidence about how long you should wash your hands for. It was 10 seconds, then 20, and I watched somebody yesterday, he said, actually you need to do it for 30 seconds.
Oh, I thought it was a minute or 2 minutes. That was on one of our school emails.
Yeah. And so there's nothing better than soap for reducing the spread. You can't get hand sanitizers anymore. You can't get alcohol wipes. They're all sold out.
I know. And I heard someone in Chemist Warehouse line say the other day, vodka is the best.
Yeah. Excellent. And if you're sick, if you're sneezing and whatever, maybe you should stay at home. So plan and protect yourself.
Yep, love it. Yeah, really good. I've done a model completely different. I did it prior to speaking to you, and then having the fear of God put into me. It's like, oh shit.
Sorry, Sally. Look, I'm going to send you a virtual hug right now.
Yeah, back at you, baby. So my model is a C word one. Calm. Just stay calm and peaceful. Try not to panic. And then the one thing that I'm really sort of upset about is just the sense of community, or the lack of sense of community, particularly for the elderly or those that are unwell or disadvantaged, or can't sort of prepare as the ability to prepare with all the whatevers it is, toilet paper or whatever. But, you know, look after the community, support your community. Now, I had like shop local and, you know, try and support them. But at the same time, you're saying to me, just be careful with as part of your risk reduction of where you go and where you're choosing to, you know, go out for eat rather than stay at home. So yeah, I'll have to rethink that one. And then care for yourself, boost your immune system. You know, I take Armour Force every day, which I always do anyway. Ultra potent C, awesome vitamin C, but really do things to care for yourself. Hygiene, you know, as I had washing your hands, all that sort of stuff. I had gym towel and wipe it down. And then, you know, care for others as well, like your children, your family, and help support their immune system. But, you know, exercise. So I think it's really important. What are your thoughts on walking solo?
I think it's really important to get early sun exposure and to move and to walk. And, you know, if you've only got a balcony, well, you can do your push-ups on the balcony.
Yeah, absolutely. Sun salutation, a bit of yoga or some stretches or something. But I think exercise throughout all of this is really important.
And sing. You know, if you're in a block of flats, get on your balcony and sing with your neighbours like they do in Italy.
Yeah. So I've got calm, community and care. And when you have all of those, you're more confident that you're doing the best that you can. And as you say, to minimise the risk. More connected with yourself, you're aware of your choices and, you know, what you should be doing. Just getting the connection of what's really going on. And then having more control, greater control of yourself and your environment, you know, what you're choosing to do and what you're choosing not to do. And overall, just to sit with some gratitude, just be really grateful that for our health and what we have today, what we actually have in our lives. And, you know, it does make you've been through the fires and then we had the floods, and now it's just, we've got to sit with gratitude.
And the hail.
And the hail, I know, half my ceiling's falling in from all the rain. But yeah, just we have to sit with gratitude about what we do have in this present moment.
You need a plasterer.
I do need a plasterer, a big one. Yeah. It's shocking. It's on the to-do list, but, you know, it's not top priority today. But yeah, I just think the more we can do to just boost up our own immune system, particularly as we're going to be change of seasons, start going into the more cold and flu seasons as well.
Yeah.
Start boosting your own health. And
I'm a great believer in vitamin C.
Yeah.
It's a relatively cheap way to support your immune system.
Yeah, take it every day. Just be careful you don't take too much because you'll be on the toilet big time. But,
and then you get the problem. You got to get the use and fill it up with toilet paper.
We'll be cutting up newspapers, which I don't buy anyway. So it'd be interesting times ahead. So, you know, based on that doubling every 3 days, what did you say? 20,000 by April, 150,000 by Easter. You know, school holidays are at the end of next week. That's if the kids get that far. I mean, school's already starting to close. It's just like watch this space, I suppose. But, you know, I'm not buying into the fear and the panic, just into being sensible, I think. I don't watch the TV, listen to the news.
Definitely.
But
Good.
Interesting eye-opener, Harry, and thank you very much for that, because to be perfectly fair, you sent me an email this morning from some guy in Italy saying, and it was true, it was the way that I was thinking, sort of like, well, I'm young, it's not going to happen to me, I'm looking after myself, blah, 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 sort of head in the sand. And I think we have to sort of have a reality check that
it touches all of us in different ways. Like one of my daughters-in-law, her father is an anaesthetist. He's recently moved to England. He's the same age as me. He's now working in a COVID clinic, aged 69. Very high risk, but that's where it is. And in Italy, I think they're calling up med students with 2 years to go because they're running out of medical personnel.
Yeah, because it's not affecting us right here in front of our faces. I just find, I hear it, I see it, but I'm not feeling it. That sort of
like the calm before the storm.
Yeah, absolutely. I could feel that the energy last week was really eerie. It was just really eerie. You could feel stuff was coming. That was prior to the Grand Prix closing. I just
Yeah.
feel it in the air, and it just this great unknown, and we're all thinking something's happening, but we can't put our finger on it.
Yeah. So have they cancelled all the footy games yet?
Oh, I think they've reduced the number of games, but there's no crowds. I think it's reduced from 23 or something down to 17. I don't know. It's not my sort of forte, but yeah, I think everyone's just sort of hanging in by a thread, hoping that things will, some joy will exist. Well, thank goodness for online.
It's just important to prepare, and then once you prepare realistically, then you know what to do.
Yep.
With your families, and we all need to stay as safe as we can.
Yeah, and calm as well. And luckily, if schools are closed, the kids have got the internet. We're very blessed, very grateful that there's this technology, Skype, Zoom, all that sort of thing.
Although teenagers and hygiene really are a bit of an oxymoron.
I know. I've got a lot of boys.
Yeah, give them a bar of soap each.
Yeah, well, what's this?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, good chatting to yourself.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for that eye-opener. I will actually take it more seriously than I have been, because...
Yeah, please inform yourself. Stay informed.
Totally. All righty. Well, let's touch base next week and see where we're at then.
Definitely. Look forward to it.
Okay. All righty. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.